Hello everyone, I'm just waiting to see if this is gonna go live or not. Hello, are you guys there? Hey, so this is my first time doing a live on Facebook in a few months. Life has been a little bit demanding, and now that I'm back, Facebook has changed all the things about going live on Facebook. So I am hoping that you can hear me. Hi Dion, how are you? Let me know if you can hear me, because I am using I guess a new little setup here that Facebook has, and I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay. Hi Wendy, how are you? Oh my goodness, it's so good to be back. I took a long break from doing lives because I was focused in other parts of life, and it's really fun to be back and talking to you guys again. I'm hoping to be here much more regularly and consistently. Thanks, Wendy, for letting me know that you can hear me. That helps. So today I just wanted to pop in and do a little Feng Shui Q&A session with you guys. If you are watching live and you have a question about Feng Shui, go ahead and put it in the comments. I will try to watch these comments from here. Just a couple of disclaimers. Today was supposed to be a day that my kids were in school, and we had a big storm last night, and the power's out in a lot of places, and so school was canceled. And so they're not here right now, but just disregard any background noise that you hear, because I can't guarantee they'll be gone the whole time. And the other thing I want to say is that I'm going to answer your questions that you have, but keep in mind that when I give advice, I am, taking a lot of information into account. And so if I haven't actually been in your space and kind of felt the vibe of the energy, I'm going to be giving you a more generalized answer. So, but still, it will be powerful for you to put into play. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Kerri Miller. I am the founder of Feng Shui Pathways, and I've been practicing Feng Shui for about 20 years on my own and working with clients for almost 15 years. And I love what I do. I truly believe that your surroundings have an influence on how you feel and how you show up for all the different parts of your life, and even how successful and prosperous and confident and joyful you can feel in your life. And so it's really my passion to show people the ways that they can really empower themselves and I guess jumpstart their lives to help get in a better place by paying attention to your surroundings and making sure the vibe is really good and really supporting you. Let's see, Minu, I know I'm pronouncing your name wrong, so apologies for that. You're saying that your bathroom is in the southeast direction. What's secure? That's your money area. Awesome. So I don't practice Feng Shui according to the directions. I base all of my Feng Shui life areas off of the front door, so to me, the wealth area is always going to be the back left corner of your house when you're standing in your front door looking in. But the cure would be the same, regardless of whether you're using a compass to find it or you are using the map itself. So when you have a bathroom in your money area, it's really important to be aware of that and to pay attention to it. So money, water itself, flowing water is very symbolic of money. And in the bathroom, there's lots of places where water flows, right? So, it comes out of the faucet, it comes out of the toilet, it comes out of the shower. And that water is directed directly down the drain and down and away from you. And so in a sense, it's pulling money down and away from your life and out of your life. And you want to counteract that gravity, that pull away from especially the money area. And so some of my favorite cures to do that are just in general trying to stop the flow from escaping. So you could put the drain covers on, or you could keep the toilet lid closed, or you could keep the bathroom door closed over a little bit so that, your vital life chi isn't escaping out through those sneaky little drains. And another thing that I like to do is to use the wood element. So if you were to bring in a healthy plant into the space energetically, what that plant is doing is kind of drinking up that water and repurposing it, kind of using it to grow and expand the plant, and to make the plant healthier and more vibrant, which is what we want for our finances. So that wood energy of having a plant there that's healthy and vibrant, drinking up that water and representing growth and expansion, is much more powerful. So it almost counteracts that downward flow of energy. And anything that kind of, diverts from that downward energy. So, the plant growing up is the opposite energy of the gravity going down. And you could bring that in many ways. You could hang some really vibrant, beautiful artwork on the wall that really lifts the energy of the space. So you're lifting and distracting the chi, the energy, before it escapes out the drain. So I hope those are some good ideas for you. And I hope that helps you kind of understand the energy that we're trying to counteract, especially in the wealth corner, because we do not want our money going down the drain, and we don't want our finances in the toilet, right? So those are the best things to do. Dion says, my business is in my basement. Do you have any tips? Oh, let's see. So first of all, we have a lower level, and there's very few windows down there, and that is not my favorite. I would rather be in the middle of all the action, and even a little bit less, have a little bit less clear boundaries around my work, just so that I could also have some windows and some uplifting energy. But just because you don't have that doesn't mean that you can't add that in some way. So what you really want to do is, really lift up the energy of that space. So if you are, in that space and it feels like it's a little bit of a dark space, make sure you bring in good lighting and really bring in some, if you can't have plants in the space because there isn't good lighting, or it's not healthy for a living plant to thrive, then bring in some other aspects of nature. Even a silk plant that's well cared for helps to bring in that balance of energies in the space and make it feel a little bit more energized and uplifting. Another thing to do is to sort of hang things from the ceiling, because you want to lift the energy of the basement up a little bit. Sometimes being on that lower floor, that grounding level, it can kind of feel heavy and weighing you down. So anything that you can do to lift and circulate the energy of the space while you're in there is really very powerful. So things like, playing music or, having lights or motion in the space will really help to move it around, and make it feel a little bit more energized and uplifting. Even things like bringing a set of wind chimes into the space or a crystal that's hanging from the ceiling will help create some motion and some movement in there that kind of snap you out of that heavy grounded feeling that you might get from being in a basement. So I hope that helps you, Dion. Wendy says, I love the plant in the bathroom idea, and that her shower curtain is plants and butterflies. That's good, yeah. So if you can't bring a living plant into the bathroom, other ways that you can represent wood in the bathroom are to have things that are made out of wood, or to have images of plants or botanicals in your decor in the space. So that's a great option. If anybody else has questions, go ahead and ask them in the comments. I did get some questions emailed to me, so I'm going to maybe take a peek and look and see if I can answer some of those in the meantime. So Misty had a question, and she was asking, what would be a good Feng Shui cure to find true love in life for a girl that wants to get married someday and have a family? This is such a great question. So I think it's really powerful to make sure that you are sending out that desire, not only from your own, the thoughts that you're thinking and the actions that you're taking, but also making sure that your environment really magnifies that wish as well. So, for example, making sure that you have space for a partner to come into your life. If you're a single girl, maybe you tend to have a twin size bed, and maybe expanding that to a bed that allows room for another person to come in is powerful. one thing that I see over and over again when I'm working with single women, is even single women who say they want a relationship, is that there's this subliminal, maybe it's a limiting belief or a doubt that kind of comes out in their artwork and decor that almost sends the opposite message. So you may be looking to call in a partner, but all over the walls there are pictures of single women, strong women, maybe lonely women, and that is sending kind of the opposite vibe of attracting a partner. And so it's kind of this dichotomy where you really want to have a partnership, but also since you're single, you value the fact that you are a strong single woman and can make it on your own. And so both things end up being reflected in the space. But if you really want to attract that partnership, you really want to encourage that energy of partnership. So, having things in pairs around yourself rather than around your space, rather than single items everywhere, is really powerful. Having artwork that depicts, loving couples that are connected in a balanced way is powerful to actually magnify that energy of calling love into your life. Having space for that person, for them to actually be able to fit into your life, into your home, is very powerful. And even, if you aspire to have a family as well, to maybe even have, symbols of that family that you would like to create in the future around you, reminding you that that's what you're really looking for. So just be wary of that single energy, and any place where you look around the space and see that there's, one candle, add a second candle, or there's an image of one woman, go and replace that with an artwork that has a loving couple in it instead. And it can really be powerful. And the other thing I would say is to just be really clear on your intentions. Write down what it is that you are, who it is that you're calling in, and what you want to attract into life, and get clear on what those characteristics are for that person. One thing I think is fun to do is to kind of write that, I guess we could call it a job description of your future partner, and tuck it somewhere, maybe even in the romance corner of your house, which would be the back right corner. Tuck it in underneath a candle and light that candle often, or tuck it behind a picture of a loving couple as a symbol of what you're calling in. Hope that's helpful. And one more thing I will say is that rose quartz is a beautiful pink crystal, which is said to magnify the feelings of love and attract love into your life. So if crystals are something that you're drawn to, that's another thing that you can bring into your space. I actually like to bring rose quartz crystals in pairs and use those in the romance corner. Let's see, Denise asks, does it matter if your dining room table pendant light is in the middle of the space? I'm thinking of building a banquette. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Banquette, I think. So the table will be off center, and the banquette will be in the far right corner of the house. So I think it depends on whether you're going to always be noticing that. Like my thought is that you're already thinking about it and you're already aware of the imbalance it's going to feel like. So I would say that it's probably always going to be one of those things that bugs you if you don't plan to adjust it otherwise. So perhaps you, seal up the pendant light hole and take that down, and maybe look for a way to bring a light over that actually comes down over the table rather than having it off center. So that's a question I would ask yourself, whether or not you can live with that unevenness. Some people totally can. Some people are really bothered by the fact that, things are 4 inches off or 5 inches off. So that's, I would definitely say, if it's like niggling in the back of your mind, listen to it. Okay, hope that helps. I kind of threw that one back on you. Okay, let me see. Misty had another question. What is good feng shui for really wanting to move from a small bedroom in somebody's home to my own private studio apartment? Oh, this is a great question. So this is about, again, it's about expansion and allowing for the next step. So first of all, what I would say is, the space that you're in now, that one bedroom that's part of somebody else's home, is to really really appreciate what you have, right? And really feng shui it up. Like, put all those cures in place. Just because it feels temporary and it's not your permanent space, really energize and magnify the energy of what you have now, and appreciate what it is that you have now. But also keep your eye on the prize, and don't talk yourself down from that. So things like creating a vision board for what your studio would look like are really powerful things, and that's something that you could, put in your bedroom and look at before you go to sleep every night. Or, making a point to visualize and journal and dream about what that next step for you is going to look like is really powerful. And I think this is also a bit about that growth and expansion that we talked about in one of the other questions, where you're making room for growth and expansion in your life. So even though you don't have a big space, make room by releasing anything that's not supporting that growth and expansion to the next level. And also bring things in that symbolize that growth. So having a big, healthy, vibrant plant and placing it in your space with the intention that you're placing it there for it to grow and expand, and also wanting to kind of tap into that energy of growth and expansion so that you can move to the next level. Hope that works a little bit there for you. But there's a couple of ideas, and I really think it's important to create that picture in your head and really believe that it's possible, and notice the opportunities that come your way, and also notice the ways that you might be deflecting from getting what you really want, and just maybe shifting and allowing a little bit more, but really keeping firm with the fact that you can get to that next level, and being clear about what it looks like, and creating it in your mind and even in your environment as many ways as you can. Just because you're in a small room now doesn't mean that you can't be doing all the things that you were doing or that you would like to be doing in a bigger space. You're just doing it in a more compact way right now. Hope that helps. So Maria, what color for a wallet for wealth? This is a great question. Wallets are so important, and the way that we keep our money and appreciate our money and hold our money is so energetic, and really influences the money that we have, but also the potential for the money that we can attract to us. So I'm really glad that you're asking this question, and also thinking about this. And so having a wallet that is auspicious, and that feels really good, and that feels rich and prosperous, and feels very comfortable to hold that money that you do have, or to welcome in money that's coming to you, is really a powerful part of the manifestation process. I would say traditional colors for a wallet might be red, which is, especially in the Chinese culture where Feng Shui originates, that's a very auspicious, wealthy color for many. Green is also a good color because it's the color of money. Even gold or silver are great for, because those represent the color of coins and really rich colors. Purple is another very auspicious color that used to be considered rare, and only the rich would be able to wear purple, or the highly regarded would wear purple, and so that is another auspicious color. So those are general colors that I would say if any one of those appeals to you, to choose that. But in general, I would just keep your eye out and really pay attention to the wallets that kind of come your way, and hold them and connect with the energy of them. And you want to find the wallet that feels rich and prosperous and auspicious to you. And that might be, it might be a rose gold, it might be a pink one, it might be a beautiful leather one, it might be black but made out of a really lush material. So it's very personalized, but you need to, it's almost like defining for yourself what richness and auspiciousness and abundance feels like to you, and then seeking that out, or calling that particular wallet into your space. I hope that helps. Awesome. If you guys are live and you have any other questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. Dion says, what's a good color for a bedroom? I'm thinking about gray. This is such a good question. I'm so glad you asked this. So traditionally in Feng Shui for bedrooms, they will say that warm colors are recommended, and often they will recommend skin tones like a light pink or a light peachy color or a light beige color, colors that are on the warmer side of the spectrum. The reason for that is because you want some warmth, you want some passion, you want some connection in your relationship, and you don't want to be cooling off a relationship by having so much cool decor around you. So, and I know it's really popular to have that kind of steel gray color on walls these days. That's a big decorative trend that's going on right now. So I would suggest that you look for some warmer grays that have a little bit more of that richness to it, rather than the cooler ones that feel more like icy or coastal colors. And I would suggest trying to complement that gray with some warmer accent colors. So bring in some reds or some peaches or some pinks to really warm up that color. Otherwise, you're risking the room being cool and cold and not supporting that connection and relationship that you might want to call into your space. So I hope that resonates with you a little bit and that makes sense. I know people are really into that color, and I'm not discouraging you from using that on your walls, but just make sure to balance it in other ways. And on the flip side also, if you were to do a lot of really, really warm colors all over the room, you know, that can have the opposite effect where people would be, you know, there kind of might be some hot energy or some arguing or some fieriness in the relationship that isn't necessarily supportive either. So it's really all about balance when you're decorating a room, and especially a room that's so influential like the bedroom. Maria asks for colors for the front door. This is good too. So traditional colors, you know, in Feng Shui will traditionally say red doors, black doors, or green doors. And so red door is, again, because it's auspicious and bright and very attractive. It calls your attention to it. Black, because most of the time the front door is oriented in the career area of the house, and that is ruled by the water element, and the color of water is black. So that's one of the reasons. So by painting your door black, you're actually helping to enhance the career aspects of your life and your house. And then green is another popular color because that is the color of money, and again, it's calling abundance and prosperity to your life. So those are like traditional suggestions. The thing that I like to say is to just really pick a color that you love seeing when you come up to your house. Like, you're going to be the one going in and out through the door most often. You want it to raise your vibe as you come in and out. So choose a color that feels really, really good to you, because it's going to affect your energy and the house of your energy most, the house of, and the energy of you most often. So, you know, so really just make it be a color that you love to see and you really love. Gina says, since my first workshop with you, I've done a really intense amount of purging. Awesome. And the energy shift is huge. I love to hear that. I have a lot of old photos. I have albums and could get more, but I feel like I'm making more clutter. Any suggestions for clutter-free management of photos? Ooh, this is a hard one for me, Gina. I got to admit, even this past summer, I took some boxes that were at my dad's house. They were stored there, and I brought them down, and they were full of old pictures. And I went through my own pictures that I already had here, and those pictures, and was trying to consolidate them. And it's tough. It's really tough to get rid of those things, or to find a way to organize them. The thing I would say is, let me take a sip of water. The thing I would say is, it was amazing how many duplicate photos I had in my masses of photos. You know, in the multiple boxes, you know, there would be the same event that was photographed in one box that I had stored in my house for years, and then I also had them at my dad's house. So the first thing I would say is to really go through and purge some of those photos that you have duplicates of. I also purged a ton of landscape photos, photos that I had taken of the Grand Canyon or, California or driving across country, where I didn't even note where it was that I had taken the picture, and there was no person or human in the picture. And honestly, they weren't very good pictures compared to what I could go look up on Google. So I released a lot of that extra stuff. So for me, it really helped me to release the duplicates, release all the pictures that were not the best pictures of the situation, and also maybe ones that would, the subject was blurry, or you couldn't see full faces or things like that. And then also release the landscape pictures. And that really culled down my pile quite a bit. That's as far as I got. I put them back in the box in a nice, neat, organized manner, and haven't figured out what to do with them yet. But I feel bad because they are, they're parts of life that really should be enjoyed, and it was kind of fun to reminisce. So, I would say to think about having them digitally transfer them digitally so that they're in your computer and maybe can be organized and not take up so much of the physical space. And also take a look at, creating albums or creating some type of highlight reel of the photos. So for example, there might have been an event that I was at where there were, 60 or 70 pictures, and I pulled out the top 5 and, pull out the top 5 and create a highlight reel that goes into a book that you can view and appreciate more often, rather than having them stuffed in the boxes and hard to get to and not honored or appreciated. You debated boxes versus versus albums. Yeah, I went with the boxes. I got to tell you, I actually had several years worth of photos that were in albums, and during this process of organizing, I took all the pictures out of the albums and just put them into boxes in order. And the albums hadn't fared very well. The pages were all yellowed, and they were taking up tons of room. And so now they're in boxes, and they're kind of ordered by date and by event. And it's a little, honestly, it's easier for me to go find the picture than to kind of go figure out the album and where in the album it is. So that's what I ended up opting for. And, in the next phase, for sure, maybe I will do a highlight reel of maybe creating some coffee table books of our family history. And definitely digitizing is, to be able to digitize them and have them accessible on your computer, and be able to get rid of the physical representation of them that's creating and holding so much space and so much energy, is a nice idea. I hope that helps. Yeah, there's so many pictures, right? To be honest, that's just like the tip of the iceberg of the project for me, because I did that with all the physical photos that I had probably from 15 years ago. They were like all the photos that were from before kids. And still now I'm in digital format. Everything goes into my phone, and I take a picture of it, and it hardly ever leaves that space or gets organized. So I have this huge digital monster of photographs also, which is not organized and hasn't been gone through, and is probably full of duplicates and other things. So it's a big project for sure. But it also has made me more mindful, and I'm trying to be aware of, either not taking so many silly pictures. Like, I don't need a bunch of pictures of the bouquet of flowers that I, saw at the grocery store or whatever. It's a flash moment, and I can keep that in my mind rather than having to digitize it. And also trying to go through on a regular basis, like maybe once a week, and look at the photos I've taken and delete the ones that are no good or that weren't worth keeping. That's a habit I'm trying to get into. Maybe that will help you as you move forward with the digital platform as well. Hi, Sandra. Let's see. Is it good vibes or bad vibes to have a pet inside? We recently rescued a kitten, and he's been with us for about a month or so. Yeah, in general, I think pets are great energy. They can be really great energy, and they can really shift the vibe of a house so powerfully. They can add a lot of joy and love to a space. They can also add a lot of silliness and fun because they have that, energy, especially if it's a kitten or a puppy. But the thing that can happen is if the pet is not being cared for well, that lowers the vibe for sure. Or if the pet, is creating chaos, like it's not trained very well and it's knocking things over, or it's barking all the time and it's creating stress and tension, for you who owns the pet and owns the house, then that can definitely lower and change the vibe of the house. So it's just being aware of the highlighting the good parts of having the pet and trying to downplay the bad parts of having the pet. So if there are challenges where they aren't healthy, or they aren't being cared for, or they are, have some behavior issues, really trying to nip that in the bud, because that will affect the energy of your energy. It'll personally drain you, and it'll affect the energy that's coming and flowing through the house. So it's kind of like, if you had, your grumpy old neighbor come into your house for a while and they had bad energy, that's going to shift the energy of all the people in the space and all of the rooms in the space while they're there, and maybe even for a little while afterwards, right? Because they just come in with that bad energy. So I would say, hopefully you can keep it healthy, keep it high vibe, take really good care of the pet, and again, highlight the good things and try to put boundaries in place so that the negatives of having a pet, the litter box, for example, right? You can have a litter box in your house. No matter where you look on the Bagua map, there's no great place to put a litter box, but it still needs to be there. So you can have the litter box there and just make sure that it's kept neat and it's kept clean and it's, well taken care of, so that it's not overflowing with, with smells and things that you don't want to deal with. So it's really a matter of maintenance and being able to, minimize the negatives of having a pet. But they do come with some negatives because you have to care for those parts of them. So I hope that answers your question. It's a good question. You got a picture of a water slide with your mother-in-law. Oh, that's good. What picture is good for the living room wall? Oh, so Maria, I would say I would choose a picture that makes you feel really good. So maybe think about what it is that you're looking for in your life, that what you want to attract or what you want to create or symbolize in your life, and see if you can find some artwork that really speaks to that, and hang it up. And so it could be something that, especially for a living room that's kind of a gathering place, something that might symbolize your family coming together or your closeness or your connection. So, even a lot of times I see in, stores, there are those big pictures that say gather, or they say, we are blessed, or things that really symbolize the kind of connection that you want to have with your family and with people that come together in your family room. It could be a picture of your family. It could be a picture of a place where your family has visited and has really good, strong memory associations with it. So that's definitely, there's so many options, but what you want ultimately overall is to be able to look at that picture and feel really good about it, or look at it and say, oh, that's right, that's what I'm creating in our life right now by with Feng Shui and with our home. Okay, I hope that helps. I got a couple more questions that are online as well, but if you guys are watching live and you have a question, please go ahead and put it in the comments and I'll be sure to answer it. So let's see. Tracy had sent a question asking if there was a way to feng shui your home for the season. For example, Thanksgiving, bounty, harvest, bringing some of the outside in. Yeah, so I love decorating. I actually just did a post about this the other day about how, I got a chance to do some seasonal decorating. What I love about, changing decorations out seasonally is that it changes the energy of the space. So without having to go in and re-feng shui everything, you're just taking a few things out and adding some new things in, and that changes the vibe of the space. It's like, it's like opening a gift, and now you have this thing that lifts you up. It changes the vibe of the space for a short while and kind of jump starts it. So anything, I think that Thanksgiving is such a great time because it's really symbolizing abundance and gratitude. And so when you're decorating for the fall and Thanksgiving and the holidays, it's really about ways that you can highlight that in your space. So, bringing in pumpkins, or bringing in pine cones, or symbols of natural abundance, excuse me, that are outside that you can bring in, are all really powerful ways to just kind of bring that energy into your space, and also in a way counteract that, I guess, kind of prolong the harvest season a little bit, because we are coming to a close with that right now energetically, and going into that dormant stage of winter. And by bringing some of those elements inside, they help remind us of the life that, life and abundance that's there during the summer season that kind of diminishes during the winter season. So it helps us energetically stretch that out a little bit. So I hope that helps you think that through a little bit. Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say bring in as many of those outside elements that represent that harvest season in, so that you can really be able to symbolize the abundance of the summer and fall season, and help you almost collect it and cultivate it for a little bit longer through that winter season when it gets kind of cold and hard and lifeless. Karen asks, what's the best thing to start with when you're moving from not even knowing Feng Shui existed to being interested in it? I love this. This is a great question. So I would say two things. I always point people towards their front door when they're starting to play with Feng Shui, because the front door is where all of this vital energy, this source energy that we're looking to call into our homes and call towards us so that it can energize us, we're looking to get that to come towards us. So if you go to your front door and just really clean it up and give it a little splash so that it looks good and feels good and calls energy towards you, towards your house, that's the place I would go to start. And really, you want your front door to be clearly visible so that you can be found easily. You want it to be attractive and welcoming so that any people or opportunities that are coming in your direction won't get, energetically pushed away at all. And, just make it feel like a space that's really high vibe to walk in and out of. So space-wise, I would start with playing with your front door and really calling in more energy. And then after you do that, pay attention, because you're new to Feng Shui, and so you're going to make these changes, these physical changes in your space to your front door, and then notice and pay attention to how things feel. Like it should feel better automatically, but also notice that you get unexpected phone calls or unexpected checks in the mail or unexpected opportunities that come your way, because that is the energy that rides on this wave of good energy that we're calling into our house. And to be honest, when I started with Feng Shui, that was the thing that kept me going with it and kept me interested, was that I would make a change and then I would see a result, and it was a positive result, and it was unexpected money, or it was a great opportunity that I had not seen. And that is all evidence that the energy is really starting to flow to you in a really powerful way, and you can see the results of it. So front door physically to start. And the other thing I would say is to take a look at the 9 life areas that we are focused on with Feng Shui, which are career, wisdom or your connection to higher self, family and ancestors, wealth and abundance, fame and your character and recognition, love and relationships, creativity and joy, and support and helpful people, and also health. And take a look at those 9 life areas and just think about them. If I were, write each one of those down on a piece of paper and think about where you are with each one now and what you would like to attract more of into your life. Because it's really about getting clear about what you want. And when you're clear about what you have and what you want more of, it becomes easier for that chi, that energy that's coming in and flowing around, to bring those things to you, because you are getting clear on what you want. So that's a big part of it. Gina says, you're getting a new front door as soon as we get the second quote. That's awesome. Yeah. Front doors are so important because it's like your first impression, and it's your first impression to the energy itself, but also to any people or other vibes and opportunities that are coming your way into your space. So it's great to have a good front door, and a front door that makes you feel really good when you're looking at it. Okay, Becky has a question. She says, where do we start? Yep, so I think I answered that. And what are some good ways to clear negative energy besides using sage? And this is a great question. So what Becky's asking about is, in Feng Shui, we're looking at energy and energy flow, or chi flow. And the energy needs to move. It needs to circulate and move around, and it needs to come in and then go out and make room for new energy to come in. And so energy is most vibrant when it's able to flow in this really balanced and meandering way through your space. Often, because of physical clutter in the space, or heavy emotions that are in your space, or just the fact that you're in your space all the time and not paying attention to it and not keeping it high vibe, often the energy can kind of get heavy, and it can get sticky and stuck, and it is harder for it to flow. And so we like to clear that negative energy out. So one of the ways that we do that is by using sage, which is actually, it's basically burning a smudge stick or burning herbs, sage in particular, which is an ancient practice of just helping to lift negative energies and clear them out of the space. And it's really powerful to do. Some people don't like the smell of burning sage. Some people don't have access to it. A lot of people are trying not to use sage because it's endangered right now, and it's kind of being over cultivated. So other things that you can use. I mean, you could use a burning wand of lavender, or any type of herbs you could really disperse throughout your space, if you weren't wanting to use sage. Also, there's a stick called Palo Santo. You can also get incense or incense sticks that will help to clear the space. I like to use essential oils sometimes, so I will create a charged water, which is water that has been charged by the sun and the moon, and I'll add some essential oils to it and really shake it up, and sometimes I'll use that to help clear the negative energy and lift the vibration of the space up. And another thing that works really good is to use sea salts or mineral salts and put those around your house. So salt is something that absorbs negative energies, and you can just put a couple bowls out around and let it sit there for a little while, and it will absorb in any negative energies, heavy energies that are kind of stuck or sticking around, and then you can take that salt and dispose of it outside the house and get those negative energies out. But really the quickest and easiest thing you can do is just open the doors and windows. Like, open the doors, open the windows, even if it's cold out. Let the wind blow through, let some fresh air in. I like to go through when I'm doing that and either ring a bell or bang a drum or clap or even snap a towel around the space and just like shake things up, break things up, and get the energy moving again. You could even, open the doors and windows and turn on the music and dance around for a little while. What you want to do is get the energy flowing and help that energy move and circulate so that it's able to take some of the old, heavier energies out and allow space for some new, fresh, vibrant energy to come in. So there's lots of ways that you can clear negative energies from the space. Sage is definitely not one of the only ones. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, so I'm going to wrap things up in a little bit, but if you're watching live and you have a question, go ahead and post it in the comments, and I'm happy to answer it for you. I have one more from Tracy, who says, you understand that we're about to go into Mercury Retrograde, and it's going to be a whopper. Is there a way we can use Feng Shui that would effectively make life a little easier? Yeah. So I don't know a lot about astrology, but I follow it and I read about it, and I'm always paying attention to when there's a retrograde or a new moon or other things that are either beneficial to influence your yourself and your space, or can be symbolic of bumps in the road. Mercury retrograde is one of those things that is that can feel like a bump in the road. And probably going to explain it wrong, but when the planets are moving forward, but at some point it appears like the planet backtracks and turns in the opposite direction for a little while, and that's what a retrograde is. And so it is a Mercury retrograde is said to be really bumpy when it's happening in the stars. A lot of people will report feeling like they can't move forward, like they're taking a bunch of steps backwards. They are hitting walls after walls of challenges, and especially people will hit bumps in terms of technology issues. So astrologists might say, this is not the time to buy a new car, not the time to buy a new computer, and expect things to be a little bit bumpier. They'll also say that the retrograde is a time to really reflect and slow down and just notice. It's like a chance to notice how you're responding to these bumps, and maybe adjust the way you are approaching things, and get a second look, almost like a second chance to face things a little bit differently. So Mercury retrograde can definitely be a challenging time, and I definitely have felt a little bit of that. We're not quite in it yet. I think it comes up soon, but I can already feel the shadow phase of it starting, where things are a little bit harder and bumpier. I truly believe that Feng Shui, when you have good Feng Shui in place, which means that you are allowing good vital qi to flow through your home and to you, and to vitalize and energize you, that you automatically are setting yourself up to be in the flow, right? So it's almost like when the energy around you is balanced and harmonious and flowing in a supportive way, it's almost like you're on this wave, and you can kind of glide over the bumps. And so there is definitely a benefit to having good Feng Shui in place, especially to allow you to weather those storms like retrogrades or health issues or relationship issues with a little bit more ease, and to come out a little bit less scarred because the energy is supporting you through it. So if you feel like you're always hitting a brick wall, or life is harder than it should be, or everything takes longer, or there's so many things, like you just feel like you're out of alignment with ease and flow in your life, Feng Shui can help. And it seems silly that moving a few things and adjusting a few things in your surroundings can help shift that, but I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've seen it myself and with clients all the time. And so it really does help to, it's all about being in the flow of energies. And so, things are going to happen, but you can kind of cruise through it with a little bit more ease, because you have supportive, vital, universal energy on your side, helping you glide over it. So I'm not sure if I actually answered that question, so let me just make sure. I'm going to read it again. And I'll take a sip of water. Yeah, so you can definitely use Feng Shui to make sure that you're, riding things out with a little bit more ease. And so, I would start with the beginning stuff. Definitely make sure that she can find you. So make sure your front door is attractive and easy to enter and welcoming. And then, look through your space and see if you can release anything that is blocking the energy flow from getting to you. That could be clutter. That could be items that are broken. It could be items that aren't used anymore or appreciated anymore. And what that does is just allows the energy to flow in a totally different way. And I think also just, again, those same steps of looking at your 9 life areas and thinking about what it is that you're calling into your life in the future, and getting clear on that. And having that clear picture, it helps direct the energy to the right part of your life. So if you know that you're looking to have more joy and creativity in your life, and you get clear on that, like suddenly the universe is more clear on it too, and it can send you the opportunities that you want, so you can kind of flow through things a little bit more easy. And I would just say being aware of the seasons and how they affect your energy level, your personal energy level, and the energy of the earth, and knowing how to draw on that and utilize it to its best ability. And also knowing the energy that comes from the stars and from astrology, and understanding how you can also utilize the good parts and take advantage of the good moments, and maybe buckle down a little bit for the moments that will be harder. The challenge really comes from trying to fight against the actual natural flow of things, like trying to do it a certain way, rather than finding the easy way. And so the easy way is often about making sure there's easy flow through your space, and that you can easily move through your home and your day with ease, but also tapping into and harnessing the ease that comes from nature itself, and the seasons themselves, and the star seasons and the star codes themselves. So I hope that answers your question. But definitely, if you're feeling like life is bumpy, and you feel like whenever Mercury retrograde comes up, you're getting like, knocked on the head and bashed around a lot more than most people, Feng Shui is definitely a place to take a look and see if you can create more ease within the energy of your surroundings. And it will definitely ripple effect out and create ease in all of the other parts of your life. Awesome. Okay, so that's all the backup questions that I had. People had emailed me earlier. If you are watching live and you have a question and you'd like me to answer it, go ahead and put it in the comments now. These were really good questions. Thank you guys for participating. If you are struggling, facing a lot of bumps, not having a lot of ease in life right now, Feng Shui is definitely a good place to look. It's a very fun. I think it's a very fun and empowering tool that you can use in your life. It doesn't have to be all rulesy and full of, strict guidelines. The way that I practice Feng Shui is to find a way to implement flow in your life in a way that works for you, right? So I won't be coming into your house and telling you to put, weird shaped cures in certain corners or things like that. It's really about creating flow in a way that works in your life. I love working one-on-one with people. I do have some spaces available this fall. And if you are interested in Feng Shui support and would like some more information on working with me one-on-one, I'm happy to set up a call with you at any time to just go through what's available. Wendy says she's jumping off. Thank you very much. Thank you, Wendy, for being here. I really appreciate it. And everybody else, Gina, Maria, Sandra, let's see, Denise, thank you guys so much for your questions and for being here live. And I will do this again soon, I promise. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Take care.